Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you this. How many of you have ever sent a message or approached someone with the classic, "Hi, how are you?" only to hear crickets, or worse, the dreaded, "I'm fine, thanks." That's it. The conversation is dead on arrival. Here's the truth. In a world drowning in noise, generic doesn't just blend in, it disappears. If you want to captivate people, to grab their attention and hold it, you have to do something different. Something bold, something unforgettable. Let's start with the first principle. Set the tone immediately. The moment you open your mouth or send that message, you're making a statement about who you are. Are you interesting, worth listening to, or are you just another forgettable voice in the crowd? It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Speak with purpose. Start strong, because when you set the tone, people lean in. Second, you've got to stand out from the noise. Think of every "hi, how are you" as another brick in the wall of mediocrity. But when you break that wall with something unexpected, like if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Or what's the best thing that happened to you today? Boom, you've created a spark. People love surprises. They love curiosity. And most importantly, they love being seen. Now here's the kicker, show genuine interest. People don't connect because of words, they connect because of meaning. When you approach someone, don't make it about you, make it about them. Ask about their passions, their stories, their dreams, and listen, really listen. The world is starving for people who care. Be that person and watch how magnetic you become. Finally, be memorable. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. Bring energy, passion, and a little vulnerability. Share something unexpected about yourself. Use humor, creativity, or even a bold challenge to leave a mark. When you leave a conversation, let them think, wow, that was different. That was special. So I challenge you today, stop sending "hi, how are you?" Stop starting with empty words. Lead with curiosity, with boldness, with you, and watch what happens. People won't just respond, they'll remember. Every time you initiate a conversation, you're making a first impression. It's not just about the words you choose, it's about the energy, intention, and message you convey in those opening seconds. Whether it's in person, through a message, or even in an email, the way you set the tone is what determines the trajectory of the entire interaction. Think of it like a handshake. Too weak and it feels unmemorable. Too aggressive and it's off-putting. But the right handshake, it's firm, intentional, and leaves a lasting impression. That's exactly what your first words should do. And when you start a conversation with a generic "hi, how are you?" you're not setting the tone, you're surrendering to autopilot. Think about how many times people hear those exact words every day. They're predictable. They don't require thought or effort. They don't demand attention or invite engagement. You're essentially telling the other person this isn't special. But here's the truth. Every interaction has the potential to be extraordinary, and it starts with how you choose to begin. Imagine instead that you opened with something vibrant, something unexpected, or something deeply authentic. Picture this. You message a colleague not with, "Hey, how's it going?" but with, "What's the most exciting thing you're working on this week?" Or if you could change one thing about your day right now, what would it be? Suddenly, you've shifted the dynamic. You've taken them out of the mundane routine of polite but hollow exchanges and given them a moment to pause, think, and engage on a deeper level. What happens in that moment is powerful. By setting the tone with intention, you create an immediate connection. You signal that this isn't just small talk, it's a conversation worth their attention. You're showing them that they matter enough for you to go beyond the surface. And when people feel seen, they respond differently. Their energy shifts. They lean in instead of tuning out. Now, this isn't about performing or trying to impress. It's about showing up authentically and bringing your full presence to the interaction. When you start strong with purpose and a spark of curiosity, you're not just making a statement about the conversation, you're making a statement about yourself. You're saying, I'm here, I'm engaged, and I value this moment. But let's take it even further. Setting the tone is also about reading the room, adapting and responding with emotional intelligence. It's not just about coming in with an exciting opener. It's about knowing what kind of energy the moment calls for. Sometimes that might mean leading with warmth and empathy. I heard you've been working on that big project. How's it going? Other times it might mean starting with humor, like, okay, I need your advice. What's the best way to survive a Monday without 5 cups of coffee? Whatever the approach, the key is to make the other person feel that this isn't just another robotic exchange. It's human, it's alive. And here's the magic of setting the tone. It doesn't just impact how the other person feels, it changes you too. When you approach conversations with purpose and authenticity, you step into a more confident, present version of yourself. You're no longer passively hoping for a good interaction, you're creating it. You're taking control of the narrative, shaping the energy, and building the kind of connections that actually matter. So the next time you're about to start a conversation, whether it's with a friend, a colleague, or even a stranger, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring into this interaction? What message do I want to convey in my first words? Then lead with something that sparks curiosity, makes them smile, or invites them to share a piece of themselves. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Because when you set the tone with intention, you don't just start a conversation, you ignite something memorable. You create a space where connection thrives. And that, my friends, is the foundation of truly meaningful interactions. Standing out from the noise in today's world is not just a skill, it's a necessity. Think about it. Every day, people are bombarded with messages, notifications, and conversations that all sound the same. Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. These phrases are like background noise, blending into the endless stream of words people hear but rarely remember. If you want to connect with someone meaningfully, you have to break through that monotony. You have to say something that makes them stop, take notice, and think this is different. The key to standing out is to replace predictability with creativity and curiosity. Instead of starting with the usual greetings, ask a question or share a thought that sparks engagement. For example, instead of how's your day, you might say, what's been the highlight of your day so far? It's a small change, but it shifts the tone entirely. Now, instead of a response like fine or good, you've invited them to reflect, to share something meaningful, and to engage with you on a deeper level. It's not just about the words you choose. It's about the experience you create. People crave connection, but they don't always realize it. When you stand out with your approach, you're offering them a moment of unexpected presence in a world that often feels rushed and transactional. You're showing them that you're different, that you're not just ticking a box or going through the motions. You're here to connect. Think of every conversation like a blank canvas. Most people start with the same brushstrokes, painting the same picture over and over. But you have the opportunity to use bold colors, to try something new, to create something unique. Maybe it's a surprising question like, if you could relive one moment from this week, what would it be? Or maybe it's a playful statement like, I've got a theory that everyone secretly loves pineapple on pizza. Where do you stand? And the specifics don't matter as much as the fact that you're bringing something fresh to the table. When you stand out from the noise, you're doing more than capturing attention, you're creating an impression. People remember the way you make them feel, and when your words or approach feel different, they leave a lasting impact. It's the difference between being a fleeting moment in someone's day and being a moment they talk about later. This isn't about being flashy or over the top. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you speak. It's about being intentional, thoughtful, and willing to step outside the comfort zone of routine. Sometimes all it takes is a little creativity to turn a mundane exchange into something memorable. There's also a deeper reason this matters. When you stand out in your interactions, you give others permission to do the same. You inspire them to break free from the ordinary and engage with more curiosity and authenticity. It's contagious. The energy you bring to a conversation has the power to ripple outward, changing not just how people see you, but how they interact with others too. So the next time you reach out to someone, resist the urge to default to what's easy or familiar. Pause for a moment and think about how you can make the interaction special. Maybe it's through a thoughtful question, an unexpected compliment, or a playful challenge. Whatever it is, let it reflect your personality and your genuine interest in the other person. Because when you stand out from the noise, you're not just making a better impression, you're creating a better connection. And in a world full of hi, how are you? That connection is what truly sets you apart. Showing genuine interest is more than just asking questions or nodding at the right times. It's about truly valuing the person in front of you. People can sense the difference between someone who's merely polite and someone who's deeply engaged. Genuine interest is magnetic because it's so rare. In a world where most interactions feel rushed or superficial, taking the time to care stands out. It's not about grand gestures or profound statements. It's about being fully present, curious, and intentional in how you connect. The first step to showing genuine interest is to approach conversations with curiosity, not an agenda. Instead of thinking about what you'll say next or how the interaction benefits you, focus entirely on the other person. Ask questions that matter, not just what do you do for work, but what inspired you to get into that field, or what's something you're passionate about outside of work? These kinds of questions open doors to deeper conversations because they show that you're interested in more than just surface level details. Listening is equally important, and it's a skill many underestimate. When someone speaks, really listen, not just to their words, but to the emotions and intentions behind them. Are they excited, hesitant, proud? Empathetic listening means responding not just to what's being said, but to how it's being said. It's about making them feel heard, understood, and valued. When someone shares something personal or meaningful, acknowledge it with more than a nod or a "that's cool." Say, "That sounds incredible. How did that feel?" Or, "I can see why that's so important to you." Your responses should reflect your engagement, showing that you're not just hearing, but truly understanding. Genuine interest also involves remembering details. It's one thing to listen in the moment. It's another to recall and bring up those details later. When you reference something someone shared with you, whether it's a project they were excited about, a challenge they were facing, or even their favorite coffee order, you're telling them, "I see you and I value what you shared." These small acts of remembering can have a profound impact because they show that your interest wasn't fleeting or performative, it was real. Another powerful way to demonstrate genuine interest is by celebrating others. When someone shares a success, no matter how small, celebrate it with them. If they're proud of something, match their energy or even amplify it. People rarely forget the ones who cheered them on, who made them feel like their victories were worth celebrating. And if they're going through a tough time, showing empathy and support without judgment can create a bond that's hard to break. But here's the thing, genuine interest can't be faked. People are incredibly perceptive. If you're only asking questions or engaging because you want something in return, they'll feel it. True connection comes from a place of authenticity where your primary goal is to understand and appreciate the other person. It's about creating a space where they feel safe, valued, and seen. And this doesn't mean you have to lose yourself in the process. Showing genuine interest is not about becoming a passive observer. It's about engaging in a way that's authentic to both of you. Share your own stories and insights, but do so in a way that adds to the conversation rather than redirects it. Make the interaction a two-way street where both sides feel enriched and connected. When you approach every interaction with genuine interest, you'll notice a shift not just in how others respond to you, but in how you feel about those connections. Conversations become more fulfilling, relationships deepen, and even brief exchanges feel meaningful. People will remember how you made them feel, valued, respected, and truly heard. And that's a legacy far more impactful than any witty remark or surface level charm. Now, genuine interest isn't just a strategy for better communication. It's a foundation for richer, more meaningful relationships. Being memorable is not about grand gestures or extravagant words. It's about leaving an imprint that lingers long after the conversation ends. People don't remember every detail of what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. The key to being memorable is creating moments that resonate, moments of connection, surprise, or inspiration. It's about showing up as your authentic self and bringing energy, passion, and uniqueness to every interaction. Being memorable often begins with vulnerability. When you allow yourself to be real, to share something personal or unexpected, you open the door for others to do the same. It doesn't have to be overly intimate or dramatic. A simple anecdote about a challenge you overcame or a quirky habit you have can make you relatable and human. For example, saying something like, "I always start my mornings dancing to the most ridiculous playlist. Don't ask me why, but it works." Brings a smile and creates a moment of connection. Vulnerability disarms people. It invites trust and leaves a mark because it's genuine. Humor is another powerful way to stand out. Laughter has a way of breaking down walls and creating bonds in an instant. A well-timed joke, a playful observation, or a self-deprecating comment can make people feel comfortable and engaged. The trick is to keep it light and inclusive. Humor that uplifts, not humor at someone's expense. When people associate you with joy or laughter, you become someone they want to be around, someone who adds positivity to their day. Memorability also comes from the ability to surprise people. This doesn't mean being outlandish or over the top. It means doing something they didn't expect. Maybe it's remembering a detail they shared weeks ago and bringing it up at the right moment. Maybe it's offering a perspective they hadn't considered or sharing a compliment that's specific and heartfelt. Instead of saying, "You're really smart," you could say, "The way you explained that concept earlier was so clear, it's obvious how deeply you understand it." Specificity makes your words more impactful and ensures they're not forgotten. Energy is another critical factor. The way you carry yourself, your tone, your body language, and enthusiasm creates an experience for the other person. When you bring energy that's positive, passionate, or even just fully present, you naturally draw people in. It's not about being loud or overwhelming. It's about showing that you care, that you're engaged, and that you're giving this moment your full attention. People feel that and they respond to it. But perhaps the most powerful way to be memorable is to make the interaction about the other person. People remember how you made them feel. When you listen deeply, celebrate their wins, and genuinely show up for them, you create a sense of connection that's rare. Complimenting someone in a way that highlights their character or their impact rather than just their appearance or surface achievements shows that you see them for who they are. It makes them feel valued and in turn makes you unforgettable. Being memorable doesn't require perfection or theatrics. It's about showing up as the most authentic, thoughtful, and energized version of yourself. When you leave someone feeling uplifted, understood, or inspired, you create a moment that stays with them. And that's the kind of impression that matters, the kind that makes them smile when they think of you, even long after the conversation has ended. It's not the absolute least you can do to make a difference in the people you're familiar with a little help from the people you hate. In a world full of distractions where conversations often feel like fleeting moments and connections can easily become shallow, you have the power to be different. You can set the tone with purpose, stand out with creativity, show genuine interest with authenticity, and leave a lasting impression by being memorable. These are not just tools for better communication. They are pathways to building deeper, richer, and more meaningful relationships. The truth is, people are yearning for connection. They want to feel seen, heard, and valued. And when you approach every interaction with curiosity, energy, and care, you offer something rare, a moment that feels real in a sea of superficial exchanges. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional, present, and willing to bring a little more of yourself to every interaction. So the next time you reach out, don't settle for, "Hi, how are you?" Don't settle for being part of the noise. Lead with your heart, with your curiosity, and with the courage to be different. Watch how people respond when you show them that this moment, this connection matters. Watch how they lean in when they feel your genuine interest and energy. Watch how they remember you, not just for what you said, but for how you made them feel. Because in the end, it's not the words you choose or the questions you ask that leave the greatest impact. It's the moments of connection you create, the energy you bring, and the authenticity you share. And when you make every conversation count, you don't just start dialogues, you start relationships. You don't just communicate, you connect. And that is what makes you unforgettable. Thank you.